Yeah, live stream.
Exciting.
I know. Setting up your meeting.
Exciting. Yeah, I think we're live. Hey, everybody. You can probably hear us. Exciting. Hi, everybody. We've got our special guest here today. We got the real blonde broker.
Woohoo.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here.
We're so
Very
happy to
happy
have
to
you.
have you. You're the reason why probably half of the people are showing up. So the other half is just confused.
And I'm sorry I don't have an avatar. I just was a little late on figuring that all out. So it's just going to be Blonde Broker. That's just how we're going to represent today.
We love you just as you are.
Yes, we love you just as you are. We're just happy that you're here. And then we of course had the great Massby, and of course we have the Tesla Tracker here as well. And I'm Cantonese Cat. So we're gonna
Hello,
give
hello.
oh hello. I think Matt's got a new mic. He's gonna show off his
Yes,
sexy voice.
yes, I have to talk all the time now. No, just joking.
Well, you have a great voice. You can,
Uh,
Matthew.
no,
It's
it's
okay.
okay. You can go ahead. People came for you.
Yeah, I think really people came for you. So we would like to see if you want to start us out. Obviously Tesla earning is just done. We just got done with the earning call. So feel free to bust out your chart and feel free to
Okay,
talk about anything you want to talk about.
let me get there.
Putting you on the spot.
Okay, hang on. I'm getting my screen how I want it.
While she's doing that, I would like to say that Elon said it. He said basically, once we get autonomous robots and we've got energy going, basically money, what is money? Money won't mean anything anymore because we'll just have unlimited abundance in the
Yeah, that
robot aftermath.
the era of abundance.
Yep, the era of abundance.
Like just
Okay.
like just like Star Trek.
Exactly. The Gene Roddenberry ending.
Okay, you
Yes.
guys ready for screen share? Let's see if we can do
Yes.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Bust it out. There you go. I'm
Yep, it's
excited to see
working.
what's on your screen.
Okay, there we
Ooh.
are. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Got it?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So this is my Tesla chart. This is my Tesla channel I've been monitoring. We bounced out of it briefly today and hit my gold and blue bands, which acted as double resistance. And you can see that this red number of 15,000 is sellers. So they were obviously selling and not buying it. And then it came and it formed a head and shoulders. And this is a 1 hour chart, by the way, that I'm on right now. So after forming a head and shoulders and trying to test this trend line, we saw a big sell-off after hours in Tesla. I mentioned some gap fills. It's filled 2 of them so far out of the 3. Tesla is still not strong until it can get above this 231.7. So I am anticipating that it most likely continues down to 220, maybe even into the teens to fill that third gap that I mentioned on Twitter between the 218 and the 213.5 area. I have the exact gap on Twitter. Let me look at what I typed. 213.75 to 218 is that gap. And that also kind of coincides with my gold band down here. So I am anticipating that Tesla will drop between this like 216, 220 area and hit this channel and then get some relief. So that's where I'm mainly watching it. I did start to buy this mid 220 area because you can never time your buys perfectly. But that is what I'm looking at, is a continuation down to this 216 to 220 area as a buy zone for Tesla.
That's very smart.
Matt, I think you're gonna front run her. We're just
Yeah, I just bought right now and at 226 I had an order in and it hit. So I'm gonna front run a little bit just because
Yeah.
I just want to add more.
Well, yeah. Well, see, I'd sold all mine, so I didn't have a position left.
Oh, nice.
And so I was, waiting to get in again. And so I kind of started buying a little too right here. And then I thought, no, I'm wrong because it started to lose that line. So I got out. So then I decided once it was below this purple that I needed to wait to buy within here. So I'm like you can't time it perfectly. So I bought a little in the 220s and then I will continue to add as I get what I think is going to be this third gap fill area. It may not gap fill entirely. It may hit, this 216 and bounce. So it'll only be a partial gap fill, but I think it's coming for that third one.
Yeah, I could
That-
see that too.
That makes sense. I've got, I'm a big believer in these Fibonacci extension levels. And when I go off of let's see here, when I go off the 101.81 low, and then that's as the waves start, and then go all the way up to the 299.29 high, and then back down to the 138.80 low for the wave two, then and do the extension from there. The 38.2% extensions at $214.24. And for anything to go like really bearish, really bullish, it really should hold support right around there, 214.24. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
and that, would be into the channel
Exactly.
as well and into this kind of gold area that we're talking about, that gap fill. So yeah, I think that third gap fill will come. But you can definitely see, that they were selling that after hours. If I broaden this a little bit more, you can see these numbers and they're definitely selling. So
It's really cool. What kind of indicator do you use to show you like sell order sizes?
I have a script that a friend wrote me that just shows the different buys and sells. It's not an exact number of, what they are, but obviously if you start seeing big ones, you know that they're exiting a position. So it's just a customized script that I have.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Do you mostly react to price action, trying to, just kind of look and just react in the short time frame, or do you also have like any thoughts in terms of what's going to happen if the third gap fills and you're going to get to 220 to 216? Is there any thought in terms of what might happen after that, or are you being a proper trader and just react to price action?
I mean, I do. I've proper trader, also pattern trader. So I've been studying the pattern on Tesla, and I was one of the few that said it's going to 150 when it did, and nobody, everybody's like, no, we're going to 300. And in fact, that's how I met Danny. Is Danny was following me and he's like, I just don't understand why Tesla's going up and or not going up. And I'm like, Danny, it's going to 150. And he's like, no, it can't be. And I'm like, Danny, it's going to 150. And this was when it was, 250. And finally he believed me. And then, he really got his system down after that. And so we laugh because he's like, you really like showed me what I had to go and tweak and figure out and, on my system. So Danny and I have been great friends since then because we had so many discussions on Tesla. And, I hated to like, he was so hopeful that it would bounce. And I hated to be the one that's like, it's not bouncing, And then he bought it and got a beautiful bounce and he's held it and done fantastic. And I'm so happy for him. But I really think it'll come down here and then I will be holding it. I think it will rebound into that October event or into the end of the year. But I kind of feel like this is like a wave 3. I don't know if you would agree with this tracker. So we will probably go back and test at least 231, 233 would be my guess. So, we probably get some move to test around here, even this 236, and then come down for that number. So something like this.
I definitely agree with you. I do agree with you.
Because, Tesla is just the type that they see a discount and they go after it, and it usually gets a pretty nice bounce. So that would give it, maybe an $8 to $10 bounce for wave 4 and then come down in a wave 5 into our target. So that's my expectation for Tesla currently.
Are you familiar with this theory of alternation in Elliott wave counts? So like if the wave 2 is very long, the wave 4 will be very short and vice versa.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is definitely a very long wave 2. That wave 4 bounce will not be very long. It will be very fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it'll probably, bounce on just the earnings or bounce on, we have data to this week, a lot of different things that are expected. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on
somewhere
that.
along there, it should probably bounce and then come down to that lower target.
Yeah, I'm
But,
pretty bullish on this high
these
right
are
now
the
this week, so that might help as well.
these are the, 3 I'd be watching, the 232, 233.8 and 236.5. I don't think it bounces higher than, one of these 3 lines that I have. And
That really
then
makes
come
sense
down
too,
here.
because at 232.80, that is our weekly moving average 200.
Yeah, so that would actually be perfect, right around there.
Yeah,
Or 233 to overshoot a little bit,
sure.
because they usually like to fake you out a little bit, thinking it's coming back, and then it doesn't.
Yep, definitely, because we had like a perfect touch of that line on Wednesday, and then it overshot it a little bit on Friday. And here's the big overshoot, and then it goes back up. And
Yeah, because you can see that right there, all these 3 different points across there of where there
exactly.
were people holding, and wicks, that it wicked there. So that would make sense. So that's my anticipation.
Somebody's asking what the lower target is because they can't see the price numbers on your chart.
Oh, down here?
Yeah.
This is 209. So about 209 is this line. And then this line is 206.7. So if Tesla lost 206.7, I'd really have to rethink my strategy. But I think it's going to be bought somewhere in between these gold bands, because see what it's done is these gold bands signify a daily cycle. So these are daily bands, not my typical 5-minute trading style that I love. So it rejected this gold band several times this past week. So usually it will travel from the gold top to the gold bottom. So my anticipation is it's coming into this gold bottom at some point. That's where I'd buy. And I can't see the questions. Can you just see the questions?
No, if you just open up the YouTube page, you can just see it.
Yeah, we open up the YouTube page and we mute it so we don't hear ourselves double. And then you can see the chat.
I can't even see the chat right now.
Don't worry. Somebody
just let me know. Just feed them to me.
Somebody said that somebody commented on X that it would touch 170. Do you think that it might potentially go down to lower targets?
I don't. I mean, I have a 188 down here, but I don't think it will. This band is pretty strong here. This, 206 at the most. So and this is your channel. From over here, we've got this channel that's holding. So I personally don't think that it will go that low. I mean, there might be a time when it does. I do have some lower targets, into some future years, but according to this current movement of Tesla, I don't think it will go below the gold bands or that 206.
And once you hit the gold band, once it gets to, the lower levels, 209, 206, somewhere around there, you're buying. What are you planning on doing with it?
I'm holding. I'll hold it.
For longer time frame, or are you still trying to look for higher targets? You're looking for a longer time frame.
Yeah, I will hold it.
So you suspect that the channel is going to break after we test the bottom part of it and go back up, you suspect that we're probably going to end up breaking the channel?
I don't know if we'll break it. I will have to kind of look, but I think we'll at least go back up to it. So I would hope that we would break it. I would hope that this, let me switch to like a 4-hour. So what I think it's doing is, this is a handle, like here's your cup on a larger time frame. Here's your handle. So I would hope that we would make new highs based on a cup and handle breakout. I would love to see, up here, I've got like 290 to 317. So I would love if this is handle holds and we do a cup and handle breakout on Tesla.
Nice.
So
Somebody's asking more more precise prices on the gold bands, both the upper and the lower. I think there's like the top and
so I have 216 to 209 are my gold bands on this bottom level, 209 to 216. So I would watch for that third gap fill, and I would imagine that either it gap fills or it partially fills and then it moves up. But that would give us a beautiful cup and handle on Tesla. And then we could move up into, October and maybe even the end of the year. So we'll probably really start to see it move, end of September, October, of maybe a week or two before that event. It may just kind of be out of play for a little bit as it continues down, and then just let it consolidate and then move towards the 10-10 date, end of the year. Tesla usually does really good in November and December. December is its strongest month. So I'll be buying and holding and hope that this is a cup and handle.
What do you think about, like us guys, I'll tell you why we're so quiet. The reason why is because right now we have more viewers, about like 3 times than we normally do.
Yeah, it's the first time we reached over 100 live. So
thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate the support. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't want to disrupt you. I don't think any of us guys want to, but at some point I think we have to ask some questions.
I don't know if I have more to say on it,
Well,
but that's what I'm looking for on Tesla, and I'm hoping it makes a beautiful harmonic along the way and starts moving up. But yeah, I think if you could get, in the teens to, 213 to 16, then I think it's going to be something that I shouldn't say you, because I cannot give financial advice, but something that I will be watching for it to do is to cup and handle and do a nice breakout.
There's another question too about, do you
Okay.
think it's possible we just fill the daily gap around 213, then move up to the gap above around 290 in the coming months?
That is the hope.
Yeah.
Not, immediately. I think it will take some time. Every time Elon talks on these earnings calls, you just want to cringe. You just sit there like, oh, please stop talking. So I think, after earnings, it takes something to reverse it, and we saw that last time when we had a bad earnings call. We had consolidation for weeks. It stayed in that 175 area. Remember that for like weeks. And I think it will do something similar where it's just going to take time. I also tell the people that follow me that when they start to accumulate a stock, it sits there for a while because they want to buy the shares, and it takes time for them to build a position. So let's say it's at 213 or whatever, and maybe it's going to go 313 up here, then that takes time. If they're looking for $100 change to the stock, let's say, then that takes time. So you don't want to run out and get like some short-term option, because it could be, we're in July, it might not hit that till December or something. And so I think you have to be really cautious because these positions take time. And I always, tell people like they never buy enough time. And that's the whole key to options is you need to buy time to let the move happen. And so you saw those people that were buying the 300C, and I can't remember do you guys remember what the date was on that, all those 300C calls? Or was it September?
November, I believe.
November. So see, that's why it's November, is that, that gives them 5-6 months. And so I really think it's going to be closer to December or January, because December is Tesla's month. That's usually when it's really strong. But so just keep that in mind, that these positions don't reverse very quickly because they are building positions, they are strategizing, they need to get in position and get their shares bought, which takes time. And so give yourself time is my biggest advice. And especially on Tesla, it can go into consolidation for a while. It could just sit and bounce in these gold bands for a while, why they're, like do its 10-point move, why the market's thinking about things. And also, I'm seeing some turbulence in the market coming into end of July, beginning of August. So I think you have to be careful buying dips in a lot of the names, because I think, we could see SPY have some weakness coming here soon. So weaker than it's been.
I'm glad that you were talking about SPY. I don't know whether or not you want to move on to another topic, because I think we definitely, like the guys in us, I think you have some limited amount of time. But we would like to, resume after, but we just want to give you the spotlight as much as possible. Kind of
Well,
wondering, now that you moved on to SPY, wondering what your thoughts
Well,
are, as well as IWM.
well, we can move on to SPY, or if you guys want to mention, share your Tesla charts and we can come
We-
back to SPY, we can do that as well.
Do you guys
Or
want to do
whatever.
that? I'm just afraid of taking the spotlight from her.
Let's get
Well,
let's
I can just go quickly just to add some like confluence to what she's saying.
Do
Really.
it.
Do you
it.
want me to, do you want to share your chart, Matt? I can go off for a bit here.
Well, no, I can just
We'll,
take you
we'll-
off.
yeah, we'll kick you
Okay.
off, and then you can kick us
Okay.
off. Yeah, we have a
Awesome.
way set up. So
Awesome.
yeah, because I think Matt, I'm sure you want to show like the weekly Ichimoku and all that. So
Yeah. But first, I just wanted to show the daily Ichimoku right here. You guys can see my screen, right?
yes.
Yeah. And yeah, I made a post like, look, the conversion lines have been at resistance the whole week, basically. Even last week, it was at resistance. I'm like, guys, it's at resistance. It's probably going to go to support. And sure enough, there's support. And even the options market, I think, was showing an 8% like decline. And like, look at that. That's basically 8%, right? Or 8% volatility, either up or down, right? So essentially, this is what we might see at the open. Maybe it'll go a little bit lower, but that baseline does sit around 223, 224. So I think this could hold going into tomorrow, maybe, and maybe not even lower than that, because there is some support there with that baseline. And if we go back to the weekly Ichimoku here, that's basically the top of the cloud right there as well. So that is just a breakout above and then a successful back test of the cloud, and then that could hold, right? I mean, could it come down to the 219 where that conversion line is? That is a possibility as well, right? But there is a lot of confluence in this zone that this support should hold. And I don't think it's going to go to the low 200s, because there's a lot of confluence here. And I'm going to show that confluence really on my next screen. And this is the GAN that I have pulled up. So we're going back to that blue angle, right? We're even going back below that blue angle in after hours towards the bottom arc to retest that. And that is in the low 220s, maybe even like 217 or so, right? Just wick below. So yeah, there's a lot of confluence around the 220, around the high two teens, 216, 17, 18, 19, whatever, that this zone should hold. And I don't think that we're going to go too much lower than that in the short term. And I think tomorrow it'll even probably get back up into maybe the high 220s, or maybe even close back above the 230s. I'm not even sure, because there's a lot of a lot of support in this zone here, in my opinion.
Yeah, not to mention the monthly Ichimoku cloud at the bottom of it is it's like in the two teens too. I think it was like 213 or something like that. So
Let's
I
pull
think that's
that.
probably going to be maybe like close as low as it go, maybe even wick down a little bit to like 209, 206, kind of what,
Oh yeah.
Booker was
Yeah, it's
talking
about
about.
maybe 213 where she was talking about, right?
Yeah. So
213.
there's a lot
So
of confluence. Like no matter whatever method you use like the Ichimoku you use, like there's just a lot of confluence around that level. So probably going to end up being a pretty good buy. So
yeah. And one more confluence too is my angles chart where I have the downward sloping angle here, the 1-3, where it's been massive resistance here, wick, wick, wick. And that sits exactly right there around 216, right? So that's even more confluence to what the real blonde broker was saying around that price. So I'm pretty sure if anything around like current price to maybe down to the 216s, 215s, I think that would be a great opportunity. Not financial advice, but I think judging by this chart to see how well this resistance angle has been, and now it's looking like it's going to be flipping to a support. So that means to me that this is a great opportunity.
Hey,
I love
Matt,
Met.
Matt.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Can
yeah,
I commenting on your chart too?
yeah,
If you look at this and you follow Wyckoff, it is
yeah,
a perfect Wyckoff accumulation model.
yeah,
You can see the phase B ST, like where it had the low in the 130s. We've come up, we're in what I think is probably a phase D now, where we hit that 270. And then, in phase D, it kind of does that choppy pattern for what looks, kind of like a wave 4 before it bounces to a wave 5. So, that's what it reminds me of as well, is a Wyckoff accumulation.
yeah,
And I would guess that we're in phase D on, a very larger chart. And, hopefully we get that phase E where we get a nice
yeah.
bounce. I'm not expecting an all-time high in the phase E, but that's what it looks like to me, just looking at your chart.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been very, very symmetrical too. Like just look at this angle, how well that held around for earnings time. It just went below just for a couple of weeks, just as a liquidity grab, basically, and then right back above, and then it just launched right off of it. But like, yeah, just based off this blue angle sloping down, like look at the wick touched that, touched it, touch, and like this is the first time ever in history of Tesla that it's on the top side of this. I guess you could call it a trend line too, and essentially it's just back testing that trend line, and it's just going on more confluence with your Wyckoff as well. Yeah, so it just looks gorgeous to me to just not be afraid of these zones, but to be happy about it.
Matt, what are your targets after it hits that zone? If it bounces on that, you're showing the lower targets, but I'm more interested in what the higher targets could be if we end up buying that zone. Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be if it gets down to this 216 zone, there's gonna be resistance back in the 230s. Basically where that 200 week moving
Yeah.
average was as well. Like yeah, like 232, like around here or so. And which is when you look like kind of to the left of the chart, it could be like a resistance here. There's even like a 230 resistance with this wick right here, right? It looks like that'll be a battleground if it does get that low. But if this week does close back above that 232, then I don't think it's really going to be any worrisome. Then it could go up to the higher level to this angle above, which currently sits around maybe 285 or so, which if I go back to this arc here as well, that is also around 285. See, it's basically about the same thing. So I think it just depends on how this week closes. If we close below 232, then I think that's going to be a resistance for a while. If we close above it, then I think it's fair game to continue trending higher.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. I mean, all I have to say is that the big move that happened a few weeks ago, especially at 3 weeks ago with that big giant wick up to like the 270s, like that really was just way outside of weekly upper Bollinger Band. It just really wasn't that sustainable. So this cool off Yeah, and then for Tesla, like, like 10-20% is a cool off. So this cool off
Yeah.
is not really anything that's unexpected.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of support down underneath below, and matches show you a lot. So I'm not, like, I'm not worried about um, the longer time frame, I guess.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah. And
there
just
is
like what
one.
the Rubon Booker was saying, like, if this is a Wyckoff, then maybe we shouldn't be too cute about it. Maybe just buy down there and just hold.
Well, there is one other thing that just makes me happy to see is it's basically approaching the 382 again right there from the previous all-time high down to the 2023 January low, right? It just looks like it's in a new trading range to me after this bullish engulfing candle. It's just going to backtest this 220 zone, then maybe be in this range for quite some time before it breaks above to the 618 and higher, right? So I'm not really afraid of any weekly candle closing below this right now, just because it looks like it should hold, in my opinion.
Well, and if you look at it and look at symmetry, you had that choppy range. I mean, look at those three prior, like in June to, those 6 months from June to 2024.
And it held it
Those,
as a base, yeah.
yeah, no, not there, like
Oh.
further
Last year.
over. Yeah,
Oh, last
last year, where you just kind of had that choppy threes kind of. You could get symmetry and get something that's just kind of a choppy
Yeah.
3 in that
Yes.
range before it breaks out.
Yeah.
You mean between like the 0.382 and the 0.5, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that the three camel humps right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you might get the 3 camel humps on the right too, or
Yeah.
maybe 2 of them, but you
Yeah,
can
like
see
here,
whenever it's just like that. Every time it's
Yeah.
consolidating, you get that kind of yucky pattern that's not very fun to trade.
Yeah. But what I'm really seeing is anything around 220 or even like a wick below to the 216, I think it's exciting. It's nothing you should fear. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, I can totally see like maybe 220, 225 being like a good buying zone. I'm
Yeah.
not that precise though. I mean, I think like, Von Booker, your stuff has been pretty on point. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that you're
Thanks.
gonna be right. It's gonna like wick down there. It's gonna grab liquidity down there. So yeah, it's yeah. I don't have anything else to say.
So far, we're both saying like 216, 220. That's a great place. What about you, Tesla Tracker?
Yeah, let's see. I was just gonna bust in with this screen right
Kick him out. Kick him out.
here.
Somebody commented saying that we better be nice to you, broker, because they would love to have you back. So we better be.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you had better be. No, you guys are always nice to me.
Yeah, we're huge fans of yours. You've just
We
been,
put up a
just
good
been
fight.
great. That too. So yeah, here's the whole Tesla triangle that I've been looking at. Ever since we got the 414.50 high to the 101.81 low, the almost 300 high, and then the 130.80 low. And I just look at this. One really easy way to look at this pattern is to do this right here, is pull up the Fibonacci extension and just call this a wave start. And then here's your wave 1 top, and then your wave 2 bottom. That's exactly what I've already got here. So I'm just gonna delete the one I made a copy of. And with the Fibonacci pinball, typically off of a wave 2 start, Tesla loves to do this pattern. And I was really hoping we would see exactly this. We haven't gotten it, or at least not yet. The 764, back to the 382, then up to the 1382, back to the 1, and then to the 2382. And it may just be because I just need to adhere to the larger count. But if we could do a wave start from here, this is Matt and Catton have already seen these, but to the 609.20 after a lot of times these wave threes, they come just shy of the all-time high, and that's exactly what this one is, coming just under it, about 411, 412, and then retest back, and it's going to test over the 300 level. But what we got less than the 76.4. I thought maybe we could get even the 618 after the earnings release, but we didn't even get that. So less than the 764. Maybe I should just trim this down a little bit, but leave everything else the same. And maybe trim this down a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I've got for my longer term targets. And of course, there's just taking the whole setup from back here somewhere in the beginning of time to the 414.50 high, and then the 101.80 low. And so that just basically says, here's your 1, 2, and everything else has sort of been preset this whole time. We're just kind of like just waiting for this to finish up. I'm going to take this and hide it. And so then here's the larger degree. I'm going to make this real small. And then do a larger degree off of this, the wave start. 764, 382, 1382, 100, 2382. So this one gets us to 1087 in the longer term.
Yeah. Don't be cute. Just buy and lower and hold.
Yeah. So like anything you buy in this, if I just draw a square, I draw a price range, and you're talking about buying somewhere in this price range, it looks very, very small compared to everything that's waiting for us above. So yeah, just like RBB says, and Matt, let's just buy in here and just hold it. If anything gets lower, don't freak out because it's not going to go lower than this. That's that 130.80. That was our lowest low since the 101.81 low. Anything else is just a gift. Buy it, and then just wait. Just hold it. And Matt's got some amazing Gann charts that just go off to Tesla to 2000 easily.
No,
Yeah,
they
he's
go
not
to
showing up.
5,000.
Oh, 5,000. I'm sorry,
5,000, yes.
5,000.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, come on now. That's more
And
than
so a
double.
short. I just
Wow.
want to go real quick here to show you something. It's not going to take more than.
I'm just going to comment on that as wow because I don't have things that look like that, but I'm going to
Have you seen mine, RBB?
I'm going to
Have
let
seen
you
that
guys
chart?
dream. I'm going to let you dream, but those are not my targets. I just want to be on record for that.
Well, I can show you when Cat's done if you haven't seen my chart.
I haven't. No, I would
Yeah,
like to
I'll
see
show
it.
you. It's glorious. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
think
is glorious.
you should check it out. And if we're wrong, it'll be epically wrong. But
I just want to be on record that I am not on board, that I am jumping off ship there. But
yeah, she's
please
all
come
about
back.
Tesla at 10,000.
No.
I'm joking.
No.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin your branding. Yeah,
I'm
stop
joking,
it,
I'm
Matt.
joking.
Stop it. Shut up. This is a 2-week chart for Tesla, and I was actually kind of amazed in terms of how like the 1 week doesn't really show that much confluence in terms of like support and resistance. It does somewhat, but the 2-week chart actually shows a lot more touches in terms of what like Tesla has been doing really over the last 2 years, 3 years. You can see like clearly like support, but getting weak and then broke down underneath the cloud, came back test, fail, and then it just came back down and kept on trying to back test the cloud and kept on getting rejected until just now. We kind of convincingly got back inside the cloud here, and we got rejected because I don't expect us to really push through the cloud immediately. So I can totally see like what you're saying, Bob Parker, you're saying that there might be some symmetry like with the three camel humps, excuse me. I can totally see that might be happening within the cloud here for a little bit before breaking above. I can totally see that, just for symmetry purposes. And that could
instead of, going up and then coming down, they would probably be camel humps going more down.
Yeah.
Before the up, as we move our way down to that 209, 216 area.
Yeah. The interesting, like the bottom of the 2-week cloud right now is what is it? 216.82.
Yeah, so see, you're right with almost my gold line at 216.02.
Yeah. It's just a lot of confluence. Yeah, the reason why I want to go now is because I want you to kick me out. I want you to be the one to kick me off. It would be an honor. Please kick me off.
No, I want to see I wanted to see who has the 5,000
Oh,
chart.
actually, yeah,
Yeah.
Matt, you want to
Matt,
show
yeah.
your crazy chart?
Okay,
Yeah.
so be amazed, RBB. Yeah, so here we go.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so here's the from the all-time low back in July 2010. It's all about the
Mhm.
levels, right?
Yeah.
We can see this angle held perfectly. All the angles are kind of like at support and resistance as well. But the orange level was a very important level from 2014 all the way until 2019. Then it finally broke free. Then it came up. And then during COVID, it just back tested this bottom arc here due to
Mhm.
market symmetry. And then it made its way up to the blue level. And that blue level has been important since January 2021. And then we go in time. It's been a resistance basically ever since. And I'll zoom in a little bit. And that's where it wants to gravitate to next, which is at 290, 295, around 300 or so. So where does the next level sit? And if we zoom out a little more, the next level does sit here around 4,900, maybe 5,000, right? So due to this symmetry, it hits one level at a time. Nobody knows when, but if we did follow the vertical lines, it could be by the year 2032, based off of this, because this orange level, it hit kind of a top here around this orange level. So maybe by the blue vertical line, it'll hit this $5,000 level by the year 2032 due to this market symmetry.
Yeah, and Matt doesn't really change his GAN around, like he rarely recalibrates it. So a lot of
Yeah.
times whenever he sets it, like that's just the way it goes, and it's kind of amazing to see all these resistance and support zones just kind of hit over like months and years.
So
It's kind
But
of incredible.
essentially, when I see this 295, 300 zone get flipped to support, then it's going to challenge the previous all-time highs. And once those break, then it's going to be game on for these arcs up here, and then ultimately this level up here. And that's what I see. So I'm not
Okay.
saying anytime this decade, but probably after 2030, 31,
So
32, 33, maybe.
so let me ask you this, Matt.
Yeah.
I can see the dark green curve, like Tesla hitting 400, 500, somewhere around that. Does it ever like start to come back? Like say it hits, because what it's looking like, if you look at Wyckoff, you have, it goes up, it steps, and then it, runs like it did and steps like you're showing, but then
Yeah.
it eventually hits distribution, which is where it stops,
Yeah.
and then it comes down your GANs instead of up them. So when do you take in account for that, like for distribution instead of accumulation?
Well, like right here, it was kind of like an obvious top where it got rejected by this angle. Then it got kind of rejected by this vertical, or not vertical, this horizontal line by coming back up and testing it as resistance and rejecting it. So after it gets rejected by a couple of things, it's kind of obvious it's going to go lower. And sure enough, during when Elon was selling everything, it just went down to retest the bottom arc and it
Mhm.
held as support. And then it came back up. And then this arc became a support, really. Even though it was a resistance a little bit here, it still gravitated towards that price. And now that's on the top side of that arc again, it's most likely going to gravitate to the next level. And the next level is going to be the major resistance for it to break to go higher and higher. But if it's going to be like bearish, then it's going to lose this arc as a support. If it ever lost this arc as a support, then I would be completely bearish on Tesla. But that would be too late anyways, because that would be back below like 100. It'd be like $76 or something.
Yeah, right.
Right. But I just think because of all the other indicators when you use them, I don't think it's going to get that low because there's a lot of support that we see in this area. And it's at worst case, this bottom arc does sit right here around like 185, which kind of lined up with a number you had as well, right? Like 180 as well. What, like a
The
worst case kind of number?
worst case, I have like a 188. I hope
Yeah.
it doesn't go lower than 206, but
Yeah.
there is a 188.
Yeah, so that's like a similar confluence with the top of this arc, which is really proof that it's going to be support now. And you can just see how many times it held it as support, like support here, support here, support here. Then it was a resistance, resistance, and now it looks like it's coming back up for a support. And I don't think it's going to get that low either.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
get
looking,
worried if it gets too low that it's not a cup and handle anymore, because you don't want a handle that's almost touching the ground, because then it's not a cup
Yeah.
and handle and it doesn't launch. So, you would need the patterns to hold at a certain
Yeah.
point, or else, that pattern is gone.
Yeah. And I also, all these moving averages here, I really think they're going to be a support as well. Like the 50, the 100, even the 200. I think if the 200 week gets closed back above, I think it'll start to trend higher. That's what I really feel.
Yeah. Well, thank
But
you for explaining that.
yeah,
That helps
but
me understand them more.
there are charts like Starbucks or other charts like Nike where you can clearly see how the GAN was like, yeah, this is a bearish looking chart now as well, because they lost a bunch of levels. That's why. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would almost argue that the whole Tesla chart for the last 3 years is reaccumulation. Like it's
Yeah. No, I agree too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it's a growth stock. It's just way too far. Because the thing about it, if you actually see like the institutional ownership percentages as it went down to like the 101 level during that big giant drop, institutional ownership like jumped sky high. Like this whole thing is probably just trying to get everybody to like deleverage and just taking shares away from retail, and I mean those whole thing just looks like reaccumulation to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Great.
Yeah, I'm interested in your S&P 500 thoughts. I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
also interested in your small cap. I don't know if you have like IWM chart too. I'm very interested in what you have to say.
Yeah, let me look at those a second. Okay.
Once you find them, you can just hit the share button and then hit the little button that says, yeah, override everyone else.
Okay. I should be up
Perfect.
again.
Yep. We see you.
Okay, so here's my SPY chart. You can see where it hit my blue line and rejected today, right at this 556.7. So, and let's see, maybe I can, well, that's probably stretch it out so you can see it a little bit better. So you can see where almost like to the penny it hit that. It maybe went over like 4 cents, and we were rejected. Came all the way back to the blue midline where we had some volume. It tried to recover and rejected at the purple line and is pushing down. So on SPY, this could be like a head and shoulders, and we come down to this blue area around 549.3 to 548.3. That's probably pretty likely. Or, if we get that fourth wave on Tesla, we could bounce up, try the, test this 553 and then come down. And so it would put, an additional right shoulder from, here to here and then come down. Or it could just, continue down if we have bad data in the morning. But that's kind of what I think, is that since it rejected at the top of the blue line, it'll come down to the bottom of the blue lines unless it can get that middle one back. But right now, SPY isn't looking so great. I would say this is, another head and shoulders pattern that's coming down, and we might get like a double bottom. Or it could, continue down, worst case scenario, to this 545.9, 546. But right now, I think there is some pressure on SPY. I think it's trying to hold for earnings, but we did just have poor Tesla earnings, which brought the market down. We had okay Google earnings, but then they announced, was it a merger? Do you guys remember on Google? There was some sort of news on Google in the after hours that either it was buying some an acquisition or something, because at first it bounced when they announced the 20-cent dividend. It came back up. So first it dropped based on a few misses. Then it came up to 186, and I had some shares, so I sold everything because it was so nerve-wracking sitting through that drop. And everybody's like, why are you selling? I'm like, I'm getting out of this thing. I'm done. And then they mentioned the acquisition and it just dropped again. So I was glad I was out. But I just feel like now we kind of have a little weakness for a couple days until maybe either Thursday's data or the PCE on Friday, something pops us again. And we also have Apple earnings coming. We have Meta all next week. Let's see, we've got Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, ARM. All 5 of those are next week between the 31st and the 1st. So we may see a little pop in the market to form this right shoulder and then come back down. And then I imagine we will get some sort of rally again in the queues before those earnings, because they usually won't let tech just pass. But I'm sure people are nervous now on the Mag 7 after seeing Google and after seeing Tesla.
Was it this news about Google in advanced talks to acquire Wiz,
Yes.
a cybersecurity startup, for $23
Yes.
billion?
Yes, that was it. That's what dropped Google after hours.
This deal would have been Google's biggest acquisition ever. However, later reports indicated that the talks between Google and Wiz fell apart, and Wiz decided to continue independently and pursue an IPO instead.
Well, actually, I think there was something else besides that one. That was
Okay.
kind of out before Google's earnings.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But there was something that happened
another one
during their earnings. I'm sorry, I'll have to find it.
I'm just asking. I'm researching on Grok in real time here.
Yeah, nobody on chat saying anything, so we're all lazy apparently.
I know that in my Discord
Is
they
it,
had mentioned something, but I can't find it.
Is it UDS Updater Services Limited?
It could be.
No, wait. I don't think this has anything. This has nothing to do with Google. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Oh, this is sorry, it wasn't an acquisition. This is what they said. Google to invest in another $5 billion into its self-driving car business.
Oh yeah, they're going to drop another $5 billion into Waymo.
Yeah.
Man.
It's like money to burn.
Oh,
that
man,
is what dropped it. So first it dropped at the beginning, then it popped back up to the 186 when they announced the dividend. And then they announced this Waymo news, and that's when it just started to drop again.
Justified.
They just need to give me the $5 billion. I can give them the same amount of progress that they're going to get from their investment with that $5 billion.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think we can invite the Blind Book Crew back every week if we have $5 billion.
Yeah, then I'll have you pay me to come back. No. Then I want paid promotion. No. So anyway, back to SPY. I just feel like we either kind of get this head and shoulders set up, or maybe sometimes they're like, that's enough of a shoulder, but usually we get some sort of relief bounce and then back down. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. But there definitely is starting to be this 553 area is a little tricky. So, we may just get a lower shoulder and down, but that's kind of what I'm looking, is that we drop a bit and then I think we come back some for those earnings on those 3 days. Because let's see, what day is the 30th? So they're Tuesday through Thursday next week. So kind of have to see how the market reacts, but I kind of feel like we just filled the QQQ gap during after hours. We may pull down a little bit more. Let me pull up a Q chart. I always like to compare where they are. So if you look at the QQQ chart, it's hitting this gold band at 477.7. So if we lose 477.7, then I'd probably look for a double bottom near 474.5, 475 on the Qs, and that's most likely a buy. So the Qs might do something similar where they could, have a little bounce tomorrow and then come down, and then I would look to buy the Qs. So they are matching in kind of the thought process. but that's what I'm looking at on SPY. But I think we can see some real weakness after these earnings are over. I'd be really worried about the August 1st date with Amazon and Apple. If those bounce, I am selling them. I will put them. Or they could take the market down. I'm not sure. I have two theories going right now. But I'd be really kind of concerned about this market beginning of August.
Yeah,
Which, you know, I've been a huge bull. So I'm just kind of warning you right now.
yeah, my chart's not on SPY, but on the SPX, that it's basically at resistance on a monthly basis right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this is more of like a part of a rotation that everybody's kind of looking at? Because small caps and like the quote crap stocks, like the ARK fund stocks, like they're catching a bit. They're actually looking more bullish. Do you think it's just a parlay rotation, and then after maybe another month or so of like a brutal large caps, and then they start going up together, or do you think it's more like a longer term kind of downtrend moving forward? I guess it's hard for you to speculate if but just kind of wondering where your thoughts are.
I would say, so this is my SPX chart. Well, let's look at small caps before, and we'll come back to that. So here's small caps. We're kind of getting that cup and a handle. I think it needs to hold this 222 area is really important. And if we start to lose 222, I'd be a little more hesitant to be too bullish until, because it could come and, kind of fill out a handle here. So I think we have to be watching this handle and make sure that that goes, or that it holds 222 on IWM. That's a pretty key number for it to, get a further breakout. I am bullish on IWM, and we just recently sold some of our position there and are looking to add again. But, it's hard to say because you want to see small caps break out, and they can because they don't affect the indexes as much. But at the same time, if you remember when when the market sold off after the 4,800 high, the small caps just got killed. Like if you were holding small caps, a lot of them didn't come back and haven't come back. So that always makes me a little nervous because I feel like at least if I'm holding NVDA, it will come back, at some point. Or if I'm holding Tesla, it will come back at some point. Whereas sometimes these small stocks don't come back. So I think you have to really know what you're holding, what the fundamentals of the company are, what the levels of support are, and know like when to get out or when to buy them, because you can just get stuck bag holding small stocks that may never come back. So I'd just be a bit cautious when looking at IWM. As far as SPX, kind of two things can happen here. We could be setting up a harmonic. And if we do have a harmonic, then it would, it could come, harmonics vary. Like for this leg, it could come like 55.11, or sometimes they overshoot and they come down to 54.80. And then we could get, a nice bounce and then sell again type thing. Or if we lose this 54.54, so that's going to be really easy for everybody to remember, 54.54, I would be really concerned. I would start being out of the market and into puts and selling a lot of my things, because this 54.54 breaks. I mean, it could, kind of wick below it, or could have a little bit of a, it doesn't have to be that exact number, but if it starts going, then the market's in trouble. So I would mark 54.54 on your charts as, a very important level on SPX.
Why do you gotta be so objective? No.
Because I like to make money. I like to buy nice things. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
but we had this big push up here and 56.70. So, I mean, that's been, and here's those gold bands again at the top, and we haven't hit the ones at the bottom again. So I just still feel like at some point, I mean, we got really close, and this is where I bought calls on the market because I felt like we would get a pop and that, this was a falling wedge and they were finally kind of holding it. And I was seeing that, there was 3 candles that weren't pushing it below it. But I still think we're coming for that gold band at some point. It might be, in August after the tech earnings, but I would really watch that 54.54.
Is there anything on the higher time frame that gets you more concerned about, the market it's maybe really truly turning, or are you seeing something on like the smaller time frame, something like a potential harmonic like this that's kind of getting you, more concerned? I'm just kind of wondering the thought process. Um, yeah, go ahead, please.
I am seeing some patterns that make me a little nervous. I'm not going to go into them right now, but there's some patterns that are making me a little more hesitant to go right into this market. Some timing on things. I work with Stock Pattern Pro a lot and, looking at his patterns. And there's just some things that we are seeing that are causing a little bit of concern in these areas until we can get past some of these tech earnings. And, usually we see this bounce kind of in the middle of July, and oftentimes the pattern's been that it begins to sell around the end of July. So, just looking at seasonal history too, some things are lining up. So I would just be a little cautious. There's definitely dips to buy and there's some huge rallies, like I love to be a bull. That rally on Monday, I had bought calls on Friday. I was thrilled. I mean, that was beautiful. So, I mean, there's always going to be opportunity, but I would almost guess that we're coming in to make some sort of harmonic where we've got to come a little bit lower. Because if you follow harmonics, you have, here's your A wing, and then it does a B, and then it comes down and does a C, and then you get a nice D wing, which I love. These are my 2 favorites, the one coming down and the one going up, because you can swing and hold to different targets and they're, nice long moves. So I just feel like there has to be some harmonic that's happening, whether it, double bottoms or pulls down a little bit further before it bounces. But just kind of watching something like that. It just seems like there has to be a harmonic setting up. And I wouldn't say, by Wednesday or whatever, or maybe we have terrible data in the morning. I don't know. This is kind of more of a longer term thought. Don't follow these hours and days right
Yeah.
down here. I'm kind of just trying to demonstrate for purposes what I'm thinking. So not a timeline, but I don't know. There's so much political things happening right now with Biden resigning, with Trump, with Harris, that I just don't think that the market had that priced into it. Everybody's been following the Biden reelection timeline, and saying the S&P is following this seasonality. Well, I think the S&P just switched it up. So I'm a little more cautious than I normally am. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I can share my
Yeah, Matt.
SPX.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're also seeing on the monthly chart that you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of resistance. Go for it.
So here's my SPX on the GAN. We can see the orange level was perfect support. Now the blue level was resistance right here back in January 2022. And now it's at the arc resistance. It even wicked above on a monthly basis. And if this month kind of closes below that, then yeah, there's probably going to be some downward pressure. And where's your 54 number? That's like up here. Yeah. But on a high time frame, this blue level is already looking like it's flipped to support. So I think worst case 48.20 is gonna be like saving the stock market. Like it's gonna bounce there, I think, because you have the confluence of that 45-degree angle and that level up here as well. So I believe like no matter what's that?
I said that's really interesting because that is one of my big levels that I have marked as on my charts. Your charts and my charts have very similar.
Yeah.
I'm
telling you.
See, there is magic. There is magic to this symmetry here as well.
A lot of confluency there.
Yeah.
Because you're what? 48.40?
Yeah, it's like 48.30, maybe 48.30. Yeah. So
or even
that's like
4900 if they didn't want to, or do they usually have to touch it?
No, it doesn't really have to touch it all the time. It can get short, and it's fine as well.
Yeah.
But an accurate touch, or like a wick through, how we saw here in COVID, it just wicked through that orange level, you know. But it's getting concerning because there's 7 days left in the month here. This is monthly candles, so if it does close below, then I believe it will be selling pressure, and possibly that 54 level will get broken, and maybe even retest like these candle zones in the 5200s, you know, or even lower. But I think this is still a bullish market. I think this blue level is flipped to support. I mean, that's going to eventually bring the next level up here, which could be ridiculous, around like 7,200, right? But we don't know how long that's really going to take, because I don't really see anything bearish about this SPX chart at all. I just see at the monthly chart, it's probably not going to break above this level anytime soon, unless it just keeps going higher into the end of the month and then just keeps going up. But it's looking like it's going to close below this arc, and that means it's probably going to trend lower a little bit. So yeah. Also, something similar to that is the Dow too, right? It's poking above this arc right here, but that's looking like a wick, and it could push below by the end of this month, which means that could bring down to the bottom arc, which brings like 36,500 or so, right? So that is something we got to watch out for the Dow as well, that this is a very important resistance level as well, right? So we'll see. But again, this blue level already held as support. This orange level was very important as well. So I think no matter what, it's going to have a Dow Jones 48,000 sooner than later is what I think. But in the shorter term, it's looking like resistance is being met right now.
I also thought of another event, which is we have the Jackson Hole Fed meeting. I believe July 29th and 30th are the dates for that. So, I mean, you add in the Fed and, you know, the political environment, and, you know, talk of a rate hike or not. And I mean, it's just kind of a landmine right now, the stock market is. And so you just have to be really aware of what's coming up, where we are on the charts, you know, what you're looking at. But yeah, that Fed meeting, that could be, I need to see where the charts are. If we're at a low, that's probably a buy. If we're at a high, it's probably a sell.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And I'm not liking the way this wick on the monthly chart is starting to form on the SPX or the Dow either. So it's looking pretty sketchy. But the good thing is the QQQ, I like the way this chart looks. I mean, it is a wick, but it's on the top side of this arc, and it's looking like it wants to go to the next level around 530. So I like the way this one's shaping up. I don't know if this wick will make it like just into like an evening star candle pattern and come back down, though. That could be a possibility as well. So we gotta keep an eye on that. And that brings me to my IWM chart, which is right at the 3.618 fib extension. And I've showed this before. I pulled a fib extension here from the 2008 high down to the 2009 low, and it's basically right at resistance. And you can see all the fib levels here, how the 2.618 was like a perfect resistance and support zone here. And going up here now, it's getting rejected on a monthly basis at that level and the bottom arc as well, which we saw it wick up above to this arc back here in November 2021. So this could be a big resistance for it as well. So yeah, if everything else sells off, then the IWM will probably go with it. But it's clear to me now that this blue level looks like it is going to be support with the confluence of this 45-degree angle sloping up to. So I don't see too much pain compared to possibility of SPX and other charts, but I do think it's at a resistance that it has to break. I'd like to see within the next 7 days that this monthly candle closes above it. That's what I would like to see.
And then Kat, if you could show us get your liquidity chart up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me pull up my
Because
yeah.
when we really lose like the SPY and the QQQ and the IWM all at the same time, we lose the whole market. It's usually a liquidity crunch.
Yeah,
Are we going into a liquidity crunch?
So the biggest thing is like a lot of people are worried about like rates, what the Fed's gonna do, like all this stuff. But what the key thing I'm really seeing, the blue line here is the IWM chart, all the way from EDF's inception around like 2020, and the orange line over here is the US M2 money supply. Pretty much look, if you just like even ignore the IWM, if you just look at the pure US M2 money supply, like, you can see that we had some quantitative tightening. It really wasn't that bad. But then really I would say started around October 2023, somewhere around there. That's when like the US money supply bottomed. And that's also at the same time as where the IWM has bottomed as well. So I think we might be a little bit overextended, just based on the historic trajectory. But, if you look at how 3M is compared to U.S. money supply, but in general, it's like kind of how remarkable it follows it, you know. So I am not really too concerned about the rate narrative. I'm not too concerned about any of that because it does look like the U.S. wants to turn on the money printer, and because it does look like they want to they just want to increase the amount of liquidity. So if I just kind of zoom in, like you can clearly see that there was a trend change. So I have a hard time really like saying that it's gonna be it. I can totally see that the S&P 500 is like totally overextended and that it needs to cool down. I can totally see that. Like if you look at the SPY, there are a couple of measures I usually look at in terms of whether or not things are overextended. One is just look at Ichimoku Cloud and see how far it is away from like the conversion line, the blue line over here. It's just like really far away. So I can totally see either through time or correct through price a little bit more, But same thing with QQQ is like it's pretty overextended, so it's got a big wick above. So I can totally see that. But yeah, I just don't know if I really say like on the higher time frame is going to be a big crash coming. Could it go down another like 5%, 10%, like possible, right? And for a trader such as, just as you guys, it'd be like absolutely devastating to see that kind of move, But like I don't know whether or not it's going to necessarily change like the whole macro picture, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
Well, and I agree with that, Cantonese
yeah.
Cat, and I appreciate you saying that. I am not looking for a crash. I am not a doomsdayer here saying like we are going to, 3,000 or COVID lows or whatever.
Yeah.
Could we, go back to that area that Matt was talking about, or 5,000? I think we could, I think that's not out of the question to get, that 5 to 10% pullback, because we really have been pushing, and this has been a straight line up. I mean, you chart this is a straight line
it is
up.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no sense to get very bearish until we, lose that trend line. So as my biggest thing that I'm telling people all the time is follow the trend, draw your trend line. And, if it starts to cross over, switch sides. And I say that for both calls and puts, so you want to have trend lines, but in no way, I'm glad you said that. I am not looking for a crash. Like I look at that stuff on Twitter and I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, and I see they have, you know, like 300,000 followers and,
Yeah.
you know, 2,000 likes. And I'm like, no wonder people are losing money. You know, I was like one of the few that was like, we're at least going to, you know, I had 555 to 5,600 was kind of my target since March, and we hit it and exceeded it a little bit. So I just think we might get a little bit of a healthy pullback.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be a slow process. And, you know, we could get a day that's really bad like we did, you know, this past kind of like Tuesday through Friday. I mean, that wasn't even that bad, and traders were in pain. So I just think you need to protect yourself a little bit. That when we're starting to get at these highs, it doesn't hurt to have some hedges for bad days.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think things have just been a little bit too far overextended. Just look at the historical look from like the Great Financial Crisis. If you look at Ichimoku Cloud on the monthly chart, it generally used the blue line, like the Tenkan or conversion line, as support on the way up. You know, like it kind of gravitates towards that. And whenever it gets a little bit too far, like the last bull cycle, it just kind of went a little bit too fast, and we did end up getting punished for it. You know. So right now, I think we're a bit overextended. The blue line right now, coincidentally, I think by the time if we end up having like a pretty significant correction, like the blue line right now is around like 491. I suppose it could potentially rise to around 500 by the time if it ends up going down, right? I mean, none of this is guaranteed, but I do think things are maybe a little bit overextended. So you could either correct through time, and I can totally see like maybe liquidity can flow into small caps. Um, and you might just end up people just getting kind of bored over here on the large caps, and then after like a few months or so everything would start going up, or it could correct through price. I can totally see that too, but the blue line I think has to catch up at some point.
Yeah, and I see the IWM is closer to the support than the SPX or SPY. So yeah, that's very possible. Yeah.
If you're talking about, I like talking about cycles, right? You look at the IWM, I'm looking at the Ichimoku Cloud. You have this thing called the Tenkan Kijun cross, right? Whenever the blue crosses over the red, that's when you really are starting to see like a more mature bull market starting to happen. And that has just recently happened just a few months ago. Like before that, you had the COVID lows, and then you have a bullish cross, and it went on for another like year and a half after that. If you actually look at IWM, it's very cyclical. Whenever you have a bullish cross, it goes on for like a year and a half. Whenever you have a bullish cross, it goes on for like 2 or 3 years, right? We just had the bullish cross, and it's actually quite methodological in terms of what IWM has been doing. It really just like went way too far extended, cooled down, and it got close to the cloud, bounced from the bottom of the cloud, found a lot of support down underneath on the monthly, came back up to the top of the cloud, bounced back, tested the top of the cloud with the bullish cross, and now it looks like something big might be happening, right? I think this candle over here, which is just within months of this bullish cross over here, maybe similar to like this breakout candle over here in like November 2020, after just a couple months of bullish cross, very similar to like this breakout candle over here after maybe like a couple months after the bullish cross, and also very similar to this breakout candle over here maybe a few months after this bullish cross. So I think this is actually a pretty systematic like cycle behavior type thing. I can totally see like this actually looks pretty healthy to me on small caps on the higher time frame. Again, I can't really comment on the lower time frame, but on the higher time frame, I just think that it looks pretty nice. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you still have time, or do you have to go? I mean, we'd love to keep you, but we don't want to keep you too long.
I probably need to go soon. Is there any last questions to answer? And plus, I feel like Tracker has been so quiet. I'm like wondering if he's okay.
It's fine. It's just been a long day for me.
I have never known him to be so quiet in my whole entire life. So
yeah, we're pretty violent behind the stage. We're like we train
you're
him.
like beating him like this Tesla earnings today. Be quiet, Tesla Tracker.
I hiss at him. I use my claws, and he's quiet.
I love that picture of that guy with like the girl with the cat in the lap just sitting there petting it.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That was a good
That
one.
was so funny.
That was
Yeah,
funny.
if there's any questions, I can answer them, and if not, I will probably leave the three of you to chat and continue blowing people's minds. So
No, I think it's been a great session. Tracker, do you have anything else to add before
No,
we?
I was happy to be a little quieter and just let RBB have front and
Yeah.
center stage tonight. It's a really such a great honor to have you here with us tonight.
Do
well,
you do you
thanks.
do Bitcoin too, RBB, or no?
I do. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Yeah,
Nice.
because what I really do is MSTR and coin a lot. And
Oh
so
yeah.
Bitcoin is my index for those. And so MSTR has been probably my favorite ticker this
Oh
month.
yeah. Yeah, I
It
loaded
has,
up. I loaded up at like 1,215 exactly, and then it just took off from there, and that was beautiful. Beautiful to see for MSTR. Yeah.
Do you
yeah,
have like
no.
2 or 3 minutes to talk about MSTR? I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I can talk about MSTR.
Yeah.
Let me get to it and then I'll share my screen again.
And you should let Matt share his MSTR with you after that because it's mind blowing. I just love Matt scan charts. I could just look at them all day long.
Better than Netflix. No.
It's better than Netflix.
Okay, let's see. I gotta get to my screen share again here. Okay, so
Yep, we
here's
see you.
my MSTR chart. I had it as a head and shoulders, which it has come down. And a lot of people were like, oh, we're going to 2000. And I kept saying, no, we're going to have a pullback at 1800. So I had our Discord group get out yesterday and we had that nice drop today. And then we caught this little bounce here and sold it because I was like, you know what? That's head and shoulders. So we hopped out and it's been coming down. And I would like to see, I started a position after hours at 1715. It still could hit 1700 to 1685. And I wouldn't, I would just add because I added shares here. Some of them added an option, but I still feel like it's going to go up into the conference with Trump. He speaks on the 27th is his time to talk. And so I think we will see it recover by Wednesday or Thursday. So I would think that at the least this kind of 1688, 1685 level will hold, if not, this 1725 is what this red band is. And so I just think that, this was like our wave 3, 4, 5, and then this is your kind of Roman numeral 4, and then we get one more bounce, and I'm hoping to see, so, either here or it could even go here, and then I'm hoping to see like maybe this 1860 to 1900 area is my hope. But I would say it has to hold that 1688, 1685 is pretty key now to Bitcoin. But, it's got this head and shoulders. It could come test the neckline and then bounce into the conference because I'm sure Trump, kind of wants that at highs. And so I would think it would either top, recover Wednesday or Thursday morning and then Trump, go up into Friday, maybe even Monday to reach higher highs. So that's kind of what I'm watching on MSTR, but definitely will be invalidated if it drops too much below this area. I will sell and probably get out, but that's kind of my thoughts on MSTR right now is head and shoulders dropping, test kind of this area of the neckline and then bounce into the conference and probably, Trump will pump it this weekend.
Yeah.
The Trump pump.
The Trump pump, unless, and I just saw this news and I'm still trying to digest it that they invited Kamala Harris
Yeah,
to
they
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna
Uh,
bring Elizabeth Warren to it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
and you know, I was talking and I was like, I just don't think she can come, because I was like, the security, her and Trump, I'm like, that'd be like, they'd have to bring tanks in to, you know, like
Well,
take care of that convention center.
he did say he wants to debate her multiple times, so there you go.
Yeah, maybe it'll turn from a Bitcoin conference to a debate, but
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't imagine her. Like, maybe they did invite her, but I just can't imagine her accepting. I think she needs to be out campaigning, and that she's, you know, trying to hold on to be the Democratic, you know, nominee, and she's got to be out there. I just don't see her at the Bitcoin convention,
Yeah.
but we will see.
We'll see.
Maybe she'll phone it in.
Yeah, phone it in.
Seriously.
She's not orange enough, so I don't know.
I know that panel. Oh, I wish I bought a ticket. I didn't realize it was just going to be so great.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Fantastic.
that
Michael
would just
Saylor
be
there?
entertaining. Who?
Saylor there?
Yeah,
Michael-
Saylor,
He has to be.
Kathy Wood, Russell Brand,
Oh, Brand,
Snowden.
nice. Oh,
Snowden's there.
Oh wow.
Kathy Wood from ARC. I'm just like, oh, this would have been
Wow.
so entertaining.
One more question for you from the audience. What do you think about the NVIDIA bottom? Where do you see that at?
Let's just say I don't think it's here yet,
Okay.
but yeah, we've got head and shoulders on NVIDIA.
Yeah.
So I think it has lower to go. So keep watching for the gaps. I mean, it's getting, you know, bounces here and there, but I would definitely say watch the gaps in NVIDIA, because I don't think it's bottomed yet.
Do you think it goes back down to, the 117 levels to form like a more of like a double bottom, or do you think it might have a little bit lower to go? Do you see any harmonics that get you concerned?
Not so much harmonics as more of a Wyckoff that I'm watching. So I just feel like it could go lower. So I'd
Lower
keep
than
selling the rips right now on
lower than the
NVIDIA.
114 range that you might have at the bottom.
Possibly. Yeah, if it breaks that 114, I'd be concerned. This is where I had bought it on Friday, because I could see, you know, this gold was hanging and holding on. And then I sold it around this 123.8. Then we got in again for a little bit of a bump. But yeah, be careful. It's a head and shoulders right now. So this 121 is pretty critical to it right now. So I'd use 121 as your positioning on NVIDIA, that it's okay for calls above 121 and puts below it.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Hey, we're not going to keep you here any longer. Thank you for
Okay.
extending
Well,
your
thank
stay
you.
for extra 20 minutes than
Yeah, thank you.
expected.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'll have to join you again. It's just been a little crazy and busy
Yeah.
with my
Please
current
do.
endeavors, but I enjoy you guys and really appreciate you reaching out, and I would love to join you again.
Perfect. Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Thank you so much. We'd love to hold on to you forever, but we'll let you go.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay,
Take
bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Booker.
So what do we do now, guys?
I want you to do your thing. I want Tracker to maybe talk a little bit more.
right.
Yeah, I think we talked about all the major indexes. I guess we haven't talked about like Bitcoin, and also want to see if Tracker has anything he wants to say.
Bitcoin.
Well, I could pull up my MSTR chart real quick.
Yeah,
if you
let's do
want.
that.
Yeah, and I think we can probably go for another like 10, 15 minutes, and we can probably end the show. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fantastic. So yeah, I've shown this before, and essentially, I think MSTR is on the verge of going back to the all-time highs because of just using the Fibonacci alone. If it closes this month above this 886, I think it'll be clear sailing to that 3,300 level. So this is exciting for me to see that, and which is also bullish for Bitcoin too, if that happens. So you can't really be too bearish on Bitcoin if you're seeing like support being held by the miners and by MSTR and Robinhood and all that stuff as well, and Coinbase too. Yeah. So let's just put on my GAN here. And essentially, this is the monthly chart. I'll go to the weekly. And yeah, like the blue level, once it was flipped from resistance here to support, it's just going to keep going higher. And this is basically confirmed support. That's why I bought in the 1200s, because this is a great buy territory, in my opinion. Not financial advice, right? Yeah. But essentially, I can just see it keep going higher and higher. And again, I mentioned this before with you guys that I think it's going to 20,000, right? And if I put back on just the Fibonacci there, where was my fib? Yeah, there it is. It's also at 20,000, the first extension level, the 1.272, right? So I think eventually that'll get there, but not anytime soon. Maybe like in the 2030s or so. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not bearish on this chart at all, which means I'm not bearish on Bitcoin, which means everything is going to go up.
What did you think about Mara today?
Oh, I loved it. I can pull it up.
I was telegramming left and right about Mara today.
I kept on nibbling at it. I can pull it up if you guys want.
Yeah, I know you're a nibbler.
Nibbler, yeah.
Yeah.
If
now the blind broker is not here, we can
use those words. Yeah.
I was thinking you're about the Futurama, the evil guy who eats everything and poops out dark matter.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, essentially the week's not over yet, so there's still a couple days left. But essentially, it's just going back test the cloud maybe, or even wick through the conversion line around 2245. I saw your 600 posts about Mara today too, Kat. Maybe it was a little bit more.
Just I like to post about things that like goes down at support. That's what I like to do.
Pat's a Mara lover. Matt's a Mara lover.
Yeah. But essentially, this is a very bullish setup to me. So if it goes any lower, I'll keep on nibbling. Like, why not? Like, this is basically riding up the top of the cloud perfectly. And like worst case, I have this angle down here that I'll get to, which could be in like the 18s or something, but that's not scary at all. That's just like more opportunity to buy, because I've been buying below 18 anyways, so it doesn't even matter, right? So I think the opportunity to hold this leading span A really as support is really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think once it does start closing more candles above that baseline, then it's going to go up to like the 50s, or at least the bottom mark into the 40s. That's what I see.
Yeah. It's going to be more opportunity to buy, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Much Mara. Yes.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Anything else have piqued your interest recently? Oh, somebody asked about SMCI.
Oh yeah, I've been nibbling at that too. I like it. Where is my SMCI? So I'll pull up don't look at that one. That one's pretty everywhere. Yeah. The linear scale one is more convincing in my opinion. This orange level, it just keeps holding that level.
Wow.
And I love it. I love it so much. Like, it was obvious resistance up here. It's so obvious support right here, and I just like it a lot. And if we put on the Ichimoku here, it is below the conversion line baseline, but that's not too concerning really, in my opinion, because it does have the orange level, and the cloud is approaching pretty quickly as well within the next few weeks. And I do think what's going to happen though, once it starts to go back up, it is going to get rejected by the conversion on baseline up there into the 800s, maybe high 800s or so. So we're going to have some resistance. So maybe it's just going to spend a lot more time consolidating before it breaks out, which is understandable because this move up here from January 2024 to here was massive, right? So spending more weeks or more months consolidating is not a big deal. But I think this zone right here is a great accumulation zone, in my opinion.
It looks just like the bull flag that you had like before that, underneath, where it's just kind of hovering around the angle, the gray
like
angle.
Right
yeah.
It
looks like a very, very similar morphology actually, and then it just.
But here it basically held the conversion end base, or held the baseline. It did drop below.
there was a little bit of a candle right there that fell
Yeah.
underneath the
Yeah, right here.
yeah, right there that kind of fell underneath. But yeah,
Well, and plus this week is not even over yet. So what
right,
if like it keeps on just going up the rest of the week? It's a
right.
possibility too. But yeah, I've been a buyer of this one, and especially in this zone, just because the obvious pattern here. And if we even go to the log scale version of it, I'll take off that. It's just getting rejected by the bottom arc as a resistance. But I think this arc should be like a magnet for price. So I don't think price will get too far away from this arc now. So any kind of dip, I believe, would be a good opportunity to buy,
So you can't really
especially
be too entirely bearish for longer term for NVIDIA yet.
for
I
NVIDIA.
don't know. Yeah. No, I'm just kind of curious, like, because SFC, it looks like it's doing pretty well. And
Yeah.
I think Blonde Broker was, kind of saying short term, she's still worried about NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering what you're also seeing there as well.
For NVIDIA.
Well, she
Yeah.
trades pretty tight too. I mean, so her concern about
Her,
Nvidia
her,
being
yeah, she's
so
yeah,
right,
she's her time frame, her thoughts and time frames like completely different from mine. So
Yeah. Well, the biggest development I see is it's on the bottom side of the
yeah,
conversion line now, which is not really a good thing for momentum. So I
yeah,
don't see it really going up anymore, unless it just rides the conversion line up in the weeks to come, which could be a possibility too. But essentially, it hasn't really been below it since this time. But we thought, or I thought at least, when it was this candle that it's going to go test the baseline, but that never even happened, right?
yeah,
During that time, it just kept going higher. But I don't think it'll go to the baseline either. But I do see a possibility of going to 109, 110,
yeah,
this 45-degree angle, and essentially it could even wick through down to the 106 level as well. So I think that would be my area of interest, really, just because it lost this as a support, the conversion line. So I think down first before up. That's what I think.
down first before up. There you have it.
So I guess that kind of aligns with
Yeah, it does.
RBB
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because when she talks, it's like she gets real bearish because it's like short term it does look pretty bearish. I can totally see that, but I just want to make sure like it's a very different time frame.
he does not like to lose money.
No, she does not like to lose money.
She's in and out just like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
she
too
moves like
that's too fast for me. I can't. My brain can't handle that. Too much stuff.
yeah.
I like the longer term. That's why I like swing trading. I can't do the day trading. It just blows my mind.
yeah. She's we're just three hairy dolls out animals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, she seems to love it, and it works for her. She's really good at what she does, so that's perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, she is.
Any other charts that like piqued your interest recently?
Let's see. I don't
I
know.
asked mine.
No, I still like Arc. That one's good.
Yeah, art
Still,
looks good.
yeah. I like Arc G still too. I like Coinbase still as well.
Yeah,
Coinbase, it's gonna go to the 277. I see that 618 Fibonacci. I like that a lot.
yeah. So pretty much everything crypto related today is just kind of a little bit of a shakeout, maybe.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, if you just look at all the charts, like even the growth ETF, you can see it's just hovering right above
yeah,
the baseline and the top of the cloud. That's so bullish, in my opinion, for the growth stocks too. Like Square is kind of doing the same thing, right? It's at the
yeah,
conversion line, and yeah. So I can't be too bearish on anything because if you look at these charts, they're like hovering right around support, and I just like that. I like when they're hovering around support. And now even Tesla's hovering around support too, and I love
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, I know. That'd be a
Yeah.
good entry zone. What do you think about Shopify? Look at the weekly Ichimoku for Shopify.
Oh
I'm a little
yeah.
bit conflicted because it's at the bottom of the cloud, but it's also like underneath the conversion,
Yeah.
and it's underneath your arc. So yeah,
It is underneath the arc, but I like it though. I
think
like it
Matt was
here.
buying some shop yesterday. Weren't you
Yeah.
buying
you
some?
were. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna buy more at this 236 as well because I think
nice,
that's a great level. Yeah.
nice.
But even if it goes below the cloud, it's not the end all be all. I
Yeah,
still think it's gonna be a higher low from here, and it's eventually gonna cross above these arcs to go above. So yeah, I like shop. If it's on the monthly, yeah, it's also we can see why it got rejected with the conversion line too on the monthly chart.
yeah.
And somebody's asking about CLSK.
Might as well. It's
Oh, yeah,
looking better, yeah, but it's
yeah,
still, yeah, I still like to see it break above, convincingly close above the conversion on the weekly.
yeah. I like this log scale chart the best on CLSK, just because it was holding this blue level perfectly.
Oh, Bollinger
And
Bands are gonna get tight.
It's
are
tight,
the
yeah, it's tight.
yeah, there's the BBs. Oh yeah, it's still above the 20-week average too. So
Yeah, it is.
that's fantastic, and it's above. Is it above the conversion line? No, it's like
I
right at the conversion line.
It's right
So
at it, yeah. So
yeah,
I think I like to see it close above the conversion line. If it does, then I think it's gonna run.
but yeah, all these charts like Mara, CLSK, all of them, MSTR,
Yeah,
they're showing that Bitcoin is most likely going to rebound from here and continue
yeah,
much higher, which is probably going to lead to a big explosion with these BBs right here, these Bollinger Bands. Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna explode. It's
Those
gonna
Bollinger
spread. It's
Bands.
gonna, yeah.
it's going to widen. Yeah,
It's gonna squeeze so hard. Anyway, yeah.
squeezy, squeezy. Yeah,
Squeezy, squeezy. Yeah. No, looking great. Like all these Bitcoin related stocks are looking pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, it actually is kind of, yeah, a little bit scary, the large caps, but there might be something hidden behind the scene. Dan was asking about BCAB. I have no idea what that is.
I don't even know what that means.
By
Biotla? Is that is that like
Bioagro?
a is that like a disease? I, I got the
Coming from
Biotla
Dan
guess.
probably is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even need the Bollinger Band on this one. You don't really need anything else except to know that it's bearish chart.
Yeah.
Lifetime downtrend.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lifetime downtrend, and it can't even get outside of the cloud. Like
It-
every time it tries, it just gets rejected. So, and it's on the top side of the conversion line now,
Yeah.
but that's the only positive I see. So possibly could it come up to $2.25? Yeah, that's possible. But there's better charts.
Yeah.
I don't when you buy charts like this, in my opinion, it's just gambling. You're like hoping for something to just increase like 100%, but that's the risk is too high for me.
Yeah. Palantir and it off.
Yeah, it's
There's
still
really not doing it. It's just been going up on your angle probably. It's
yeah,
like it's
on both log scale and linear scale, it's going up the angle.
yeah,
And there's nothing to
nothing
report
exciting.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I think right here. Yeah, that's 618. That's still going to be my target
Yeah.
for before it gets rejected. So I can see week after week it just keeps going up here until like August and then gets rejected and comes back down, and wherever the indicators are at that point, it could retest those.
Yeah.
So,
Just all these big wick candles to on his way up on the angle. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's those big wicks.
Yeah. All right. I'm done with asking you questions. Thank you for
Yeah, I think that's good enough unless you guys want to share any more of your charts.
yeah, Traeger, you want anything to share? You any thoughts or
I'll just show my Bitcoin and then I think
Yeah, go
that'd be
ahead.
fine.
yeah. Yeah, but by the way, everybody, like Tracker basically called a local bottom too for
Ooh, this one
Bitcoin.
right here. This one right here. I'll show you how I did it too. I basically just said, oh, it looks like this thing here. Let's see. I replay it back
That's
to
me clapping.
here. What? Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that it was building this triangle here. Actually, no, I needed to have had at least once I had these points and this one right here, I had a solid resistance trend and a support trend. And I was looking for it to stay inside this triangle and bounce out. And instead, it did the opposite, and it did what is known as an Elliott wave overthrow, where it makes this triangle and then kicks out one side before it absolutely launches out the other. And so that's what we're getting now is the launch. So I don't think it's going to spend too much time around here. Just on the short term, this is a daily chart. On the short, let's go to the 4-hour chart. On the short term, it's just has to build a little base around 66,874, which I believe will be the next support level after it visits 71,301. And so right now it's just kind of oscillating. It did a little bit Actually, it was oscillating here around the 38.2, and this fast dip below it makes me think that it's the last hurrah, trying to get people to sell off before it launches this way. As you can see, that's kind of what I've got it charted here too. In a channel, it drops out one side, indicating before it launches out the other side of the channel. Yeah, so this is what I'm looking for right now. And I don't know if we were to get any lower than this, I might reconsider and make this a larger degree 1-2 and redraw this chart. Because this is a pretty shallow 1-2, but it does seem to be working so far, just off of the wave start way down here, and this is a little tiny 1-2. So it made this really nice point, and then it came down sharply, and so let's go 1-2, and this makes this sets this 1-2 up here, way up here. But ultimately, I'm looking for the 110,000 as well. So at some point, I think I probably will end up redrawing this if we get a sharp high and a sharp low that's bigger. Then I might redo these extensions because somehow this purple 5-way pattern has to grow into something that reaches 110,000. Maybe because it does exactly this and then just goes ABC down, and that's the 1-2, and then we get a ending diagonal up to there, and then a big drop after that. So look out from 110, but that's not a problem we have to worry about right now. Right now, I'm just looking for 71,301 next, and it's about 6.5% higher from where we are right now. No, I'm sorry, 8%. I haven't updated this.
Yeah, I'm basically looking
higher.
for 71,000 too.
Ooh.
Same.
All right, that's all I got to say about that, and everything else will just sort of follow suit. XRP, woohoo! I totally loved ditching Doge for XRP when Matt showed off his tightest Bollinger Band ever on any crypto. Like, oh, I want that.
Yeah. No, the weekly Bollinger Band for Bitcoin is also very, very tight. It makes me wonder if, yeah, I mean, 71,300 would be the next target. It seems like there's a lot of confluence between Tracker and Matt. I don't know. I mean, it's squeezing so hard. It looks like it wants to make a big move.
Let's see, on like the monthly or
XRP.
Oh, XRP. Yeah. I'm sorry. You said Bitcoin, and then you meant XRP.
Oh, sorry. No, I did say Bitcoin.
I knew you're talking about Bitcoin. You were talking about Bitcoin.
I was talking about Bitcoin, but you're so yeah. I thought I saw
XRP.
Yeah.
This is XRP right here, and it's getting tight. Even on the monthly like this.
Looking.
Anyway, it's already looking like it's getting ready to make a big move, and you can see all the whales buying in.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to chart without looking at like Matt's scan. And I think like Charting Guy also has his own way to chart it, but it's hard for me to look at XRP to make anything out of it just because it has gone sideways for so long. But I think Matt's scan chart and your early waves makes sense.
It says it all, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be explosive.
Yeah.
I'm looking for $1.70 next. Is based off of the
not too shabby. Yeah.
Low, high, and then higher low. Turn this off. You can see. Actually, wait, I just push this button right here. C for clean. There.
Well, you can see Cat on the weekly Ichimoku of XRP that is holding the leading span A of it.
Yeah, it's entering the cloud.
Yeah,
it's entering the cloud for sure.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
Here's the weekly Ichimoku.
But it's still like it just looks like a big giant like symmetrical triangle that's been going on for like a decade.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's so yeah. Like I can see these lower time frames starting to turn more bullish. I can see that. And I also have watched like Matt's video about 14 trillion for just the altcoin, the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah. Exciting things coming, not financial advice. I wonder, yeah, it's good to have some exposure. I love my exposure.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think, yeah. The question is more like what to buy, I think, to me. But
Yeah, there's just so many altcoins out there. It's ridiculous, which is also a reason why the market cap's going to go up higher too.
yeah.
I was just
But just, yeah, buy stuff that's been around for a while like this. I think XRP, I think it's going to have its day in the sun.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see like Traeger's drawing us like almost like a
Yeah.
symmetrical triangle. Like it's gonna
There it
break
is.
out one. Yeah. It's gonna
It's
break
getting
out.
it's getting so far into the triangle. It's just
Jesus.
ridiculous.
That is so sexy. It's almost out of time. It's
It's
almost out of
actually
time.
it's
Yeah.
it's exactly. There's almost it's just pushing this edge, and yeah. So wave one, wave two, as long as it doesn't go any lower than 28.7 cents, 170 is next. $1.70 for the 764.
Yeah.
Pensions how I see it. And then a
And
big pullback to $1, but yeah, we'll wait when we get there. Sometimes it doesn't always do that, but that's how a stock would grow anyway.
look at the look at the monthly Bollinger Band if you can at some point. Yeah. It just looks like it wants to like, yeah, it's very squeezy. It looks like it wants to do something nasty.
Yep. I'm glad you waited till real
Look at that. Look at how like it's just you. Like, what are you doing? Stop squeezing me.
Stop
like,
tempting
you
me.
go to the proctologist, like, how'd you even get that in there?
Hey, I said nothing about proctology. I don't know what you're thinking, but wow, how did you go there, man?
Oh,
Luckily, RBB is not here anymore.
exactly.
Tracker, you got a dirty mind.
Oh.
You dirty dog.
On that note, no, I'm kidding. Once you wrap it up for us,
I think
Kat.
we're finished now, right?
Yeah, let's finish. I think we're in at that note. Now that Tracker said proctology. Yeah.
Well, it's been fun. It's been good. Let's see what
Been
tomorrow
fun.
brings. But
Yeah,
tomorrow is looking like a bunch of support's gonna happen, so I'm excited for tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
excited
lucky to have her, and thank you all for the connections to be able to bring her in. So
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching us.
yes, and thank you everybody for tuning in. I know you guys are just here for her, and whenever we start talking about XRP, I think people start leaving. So
Well, no, we still have 66. This is like more than we've ever had ever. So
that's not wrong. I think they just forget to turn off though. Like that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
probably.
All right. Well, we'll turn off for them, and we'll be back next week, next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, sounds
All right.
good. Yep,
All right, guys.
let's do it.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Good night, everybody.